Hey Fit Fam, Coach Rye from Team Flex. Today, let's talk a bit about Fit Model here and where the direction seems to be going, where the criteria sits, and what it means for you if you've been considering this division, you're competing in this division, or you just want to know more about the newest women's division in general. Hopefully by the end of this video, you have a pretty good insight into direction of where things are heading and what the current state of Fit Model is. Because I'm getting questions pretty much every day right now, probably a dozen, maybe more questions a day of people asking me, what's your opinion on this? What's that? Why did this happen? Well, so let's just break it down a bit on this video here and talk a little bit more about Fit Model division. So Fit Model, as you know, kind of came out back in November. It was announced, and I've been covering it ever since. I made a video even that day within 40 minutes of the announcement being made, talking about it, going over criteria with you, presented on the site, and we followed along with every competition thus far that is coverable and covered it on this channel. So I also have had some athletes competing in Fit Model, and I have more coming in the future. And so I can give you a little bit of a perspective, not only as somebody who's reviewing this, viewing it, and also from a coaching perspective as well. So let's just talk a little bit about Fit Model. It's interesting to see that since it was announced, it hasn't really been talked about much more. There hasn't been any new updates, any new information about it, so on and so forth. It's kind of just been trickling along, playing out at the regional level mostly. We do have a pro card winner in Fit Model right now. But again, we're still in the very early season for Fit Model. And, if you've been watching the channel, I've talked about how realistically, whenever they add a new division, it does take, honestly, probably up to 3, 4, 5 years before you start to see a very definite criteria. Closest example I could give you that most of you probably have paid attention to some degree would be the addition of wellness, which was 2020. That came out, and there was a lot of women to the stage, a lot of coaches trying to figure the division out, a lot of people competing, and it's kind of gone through this cycle of like, okay, well, here's the criteria. Oh, wait, no. And the criteria is going to look like, oh, wait, no. And it's been through this where you see athletes come and bringing their own looks, bringing new ideas to stage and what's going to place, what's not. And really, I would just tell you now, like over the past year or so, which is today, it's 2025. So we're talking about 5 years after wellness has come out. This criteria is pretty established now, right? There was a lot of athletes coming into it trying to push the mass monster look, so on and so forth, and didn't work. And we're back to basically where it started 2020. So with Fit Model, all of you out here watching Fit Model, trying to compete in Fit Model, paying attention to Fit Model, you are in the beginning stage of that. You are in the very beginning of like, what is this division? Where is it? And how are things going to fluctuate? And they are fluctuating a lot. As somebody who sits here and, I pull up the call outs, I pull up the placings, I look at the athletes, I give, criteria and feedback to all of you watching. There is exactly what I said. I think in my first video actually about Fit Model, I said there's going to be a lot of variance in the physiques we see winning. There's going to be a lot of variance across the board in, competitors on those stages. And that's how it's going to be definitely all through this season. It's going to be, what I've been calling to people on consults and stuff, the Wild West of Fit Model, where, you can bring pretty much any look and it's either going to be favored or it's not, because there's going to be a vast amount of difference even show to show. So, we've seen some winners, we've seen overall winners, we've seen a pro card winner, but we do not have a very established criteria as it sits right now for a few reasons. One, we have just the one single update on the rules from the NPC and the IFBB that came out in November, and they have not changed since. They have maybe expanded a little bit upon the suits and the suit coverage, which they hammered down a little bit more, saying the suits that were coming out were not correct. But other than that, we've had no other updates, no other information about Fit Model, no other talks about it at this time, at least officially. So there hasn't been a lot of movement there. We also have had, I would be surprised if there's more than, let's say, 50, 60 athletes in the world who have done Fit Model yet, okay? And that's crazy to say. Because, for example, at a bikini competition, even at your local regional level, you're probably going to hit those numbers at really any competition, But I would say in the world right now, there's probably like 50 or 60 total competitors who have even done Fit Model based on just what I've seen, the amount of competitions that have happened. For example, I pulled up, let's see if it's still up here. I pulled up a competition just the other day San Diego Championships, right? And we just reviewed that on the channel, for example. And this competition had a total fit model competitors, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8. I don't know. I'm skimming off this right here, so don't quote me, but something small. Okay. Like we're talking about maybe 10, 12 competitors in the entire lineup of the event. Most of the classes have 1 or 2 in it. 1 competitor in novice, 1 competitor in true novice, 1 competitor in, Masters 35, 1 competitor in Masters 40, 1 competitor in Masters 45. So you see how when this is happening at the competition level across the board, judges always have to pick winners. Okay. This is important for everybody to know. We talk a lot about criteria. We talk a lot about the events. We talk a lot about what's expected, how you can apply it to your preps, but you also have to factor in the unknown, uncontrollable factor of judges can only judge what is on stage that day. So you could literally prep for, a year for a competition if you want. And if you show up, you're the only one in your class, for example, at this event, the 1 competitor in novice is going to win that class. The 1 competitor in true novice will win that class. The 1 competitor in Masters 35 will win that class. And then if you only have a handful of competitors, like the open classes even at this event contain 2, and 2, and then 4, okay? So we had one that had 4 competitors, which is a little bit better, but we're talking about every single one of those competitors placing top 5 then, which generally at any other event, and as you know from watching any of my, reviews and things, we look at the top 5 for a great example of criteria. Well, we don't even have classes right now that are going 5 deep across the board, right? So, for example, if you were to pull up, let's say the class winner from a different event, and they were the only one in their class or just a handful of competitors, it's not really a great representation of the criteria because the judges just had to pick the best within that lineup. So if that's not making sense, realistically, if you pick a winner when there's only one, and then that's what everybody's looking at saying, oh, that's who won, that's the way the division goes, that's not necessarily true, right? Because realistically, the judges could only pick the best out of the lineup on that day at that competition at that time. And if they have 1 competitor, that's an automatic win. If they have 2, 3 competitors, well, they're going to pick the best out of that group. But realistically, you do not get very established criteria for, anyone out here until this division is rolling, where we're seeing, 30, 40, 50 competitors at events. I've seen bikini competitions, for example, that are running into the hundreds, even at regional levels for athletes and true novice and open and masters and, and especially when you talk about nationals where those are very, very big numbers and you see that across the board. You start to get then at that point when you have a lot of competitors competing and there's 30 competitors in a certain class, or there's 15 competitors in a class, whatever, you start to see then, okay, well, this is clearly what's winning and this is clearly what's not. So we are still not there in fit model right now. So that is again where we are at, just rolling with small groups of shows, small competitor classes. And we're seeing the best out of those groups place, win, get overalls, yes, but that is not necessarily always going to be indicative of criteria. So one of the main questions I've been getting a lot is, hey, why does this person who won this weekend look different than that one? And this one looks like that. And they looks like they went here, they went a little more muscle here, and they went a little softer there, and they went a little harder here. Well, again, it's all just based on who shows up. Judges got to do their best job on that day with who's on stage. And, it just because you pick the athlete that is closest to the criteria doesn't mean they perfectly exemplify it. And in fact, I would say they never do, because that's realistically just not what we're going to see at regional levels, right? An overall winner is great, but it's not necessarily perfect criteria. If you want to see a perfect competitor for a class, you're talking about the #1 Olympia winner. So the definition for bikini, the Miss Bikini Olympia; for wellness, the Miss Wellness Olympia; for figure, the Miss Figure Olympia, right? And we don't have that in fit model. We don't even have anything close to that. We have 1 pro right now as it sits, pretty much. And that's just the way it's going to be for the time as it goes. And we are going to have to keep our eyes on the sport, keep our eyes on the evolution of it here, keep our eyes on where it goes. We need to start seeing 10, 15, 20, 100 pros. We need to see all of them competing at pro competitions. We need to start seeing that level happen. And then we need to see Olympias, and we need to see several of them, not just one, not two, not even like three. We need like 4 or 5 Olympias. And then we will have a very good idea of where this criteria is headed overall. Now, I know if you've watched this long and you're into Fit Model, you're competing there, or you're interested in it, you're probably like, well, what the heck does that mean for me? What do I need to be doing then? And I'll tell you this, pretty much everybody in the division now, including myself as a coach who's coaching for this, is doing their best guess, okay? And that is the fun of bodybuilding, because you get to do your best guess of what is going to fit the criteria, what's going to be your best physique, what areas you should emphasize, which ones you shouldn't, and so on and so forth, right? Well, that's especially true today in Fit Model, where if you're out there trying to figure it out yourself, you're doing self-coaching, you hired a coach or whatever. I mean, I'm telling you that me, a very experienced coach that has put thousands of athletes on stage over the years, I am doing my best guess right now with Fit Model competitors based on criteria, what I understand about it, what I can see about it. And obviously I have the coach's eye for that, because I'm not sitting there as the athlete. Everybody knows, right? If you're an athlete yourself, like if I was going to compete in Fit Model, I probably couldn't figure it out. But me having competitors competing in Fit Model, me as a coach who does this all the time, reviews this, builds plans, does blah, 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 I can easily see, trends and criteria and where things are heading and so on and so forth. So realistically, I think that it's going to continue to carve out, and there's going to continue to be, things that get more consistent over time, but for a good amount of time. If you want to compete in Fit Model this year, consider it the Wild West. Consider it going in with no guarantees. Consider it with no ideas of what's going to happen, what's going to, where you're going to place, what's going to happen at that show, how many people will be there, or anything else. Because realistically, you just don't know. What you should be focused on as a Fit Model competitor this year, especially this first season for it, is realistically, settling into that criteria as the reasons that you've done it, the ideas behind why you're doing it, and then bring what you believe is the best within, basically text rules on a website to give you an idea of where you should fit. Your best will always be the best, because no matter what you place, no matter how the competition goes, win, lose, whatever it is, if you truly brought a look that you like, and you've trained very hard to achieve that, you've done the work to achieve that, and there's proud, you can be proud of that. You can be happy with the work and the result, and look at your physique and say, wow, that's amazing that I did that. Then you win every time. Okay. And that's really the whole point of bodybuilding. Yes, everybody wants to win. Everybody wants the first place. Everybody wants the overall. Well, in Fit Model, your chances of really knowing that and being like, oh, I'm definitely going to win my class, there's so little at this point, because we just do not have a ton of competitors. We do not have a lot of people competing. We do not have, the ability to really exactly pinpoint those things down. And to be honest with you, you can almost never do that anyway in this sport. You can have a relatively good idea if you've already competed and you're doing well, and then showing up at another show. Okay, I just won last weekend. Well, maybe I'll win this one. But that's in very established divisions. You can't do that here. You can't do that in Fit Model, because you could be at a show one weekend that has, really lean competitors, and then you could be at one next weekend that has really soft competitors. You could be at one where everybody's too big. You could be at one where everybody's too small. It's just going to be so wild across the board. So realistically, if you have the confidence to go into Fit Model this year, 2025, absolutely you should do it. You shouldn't second guess anything based on what I'm saying in this video. You should do your best to, again, get yourself a coach, get in the right mindset, get in the right gear to do your best possible result, and build the look that you really truly like, the one that you think is the best for yourself, the one you can look at and say, well, I really do enjoy this look and how I look and how I've developed my shoulders, my glutes, my quads to this degree, and the conditioning level at, and everything comes to play. Then you go put it on stage. And no matter what, again, you are a winner in the sense that you have achieved a look that you like within a new division with really no guarantees, with no predictability, and with no control of any type of an outcome. So if you're that type, and there's, it seems to be lesser of you than more. There's a lot of people that want the certainty of a very established criteria and a very established division. And there's less people that are like, I love that. I want to go out there and carve a path. Well, It is a different time for a lot of people. And if you want to sit on the sidelines and you want to watch Fit Model and see how it plays out, continue to do that. Doesn't mean you don't train for it, right? You can go train for it. You can start working on that. You can get with a coach and, start training, building your body, building your physique the way that it would be, and put it on stage whenever you want. You could train for a year first, get yourself ready for Fit Model if that's what it took, right? I think that a lot of competitors get hung up on the idea of the stage and think that's the only thing. You'll spend most of your time in the sport of bodybuilding in any division, even Fit Model. You will spend most of your time not on stage, and that's just the way it goes. So no reason to rush there, no reason to do anything like that. However, if you are that type that wants to do that, go out and do it, right? The best way to figure out where you fit in this division is to go and compete, get a little bit more feedback from, the judges at the table, get some real ideas about where the criteria is going to head firsthand because you are actually on a stage, and that's going to be the best play. So 2025 Fit Model, consider it the Wild West and take whatever you want. If you like that Wild West, then go out there, guns swinging, and have a good time. If you don't and you want to play it a little bit safe, start training for it. Sit on the sidelines, watch them comps, watch them shows, see what happens as time goes on, see how many, the new pros look and everything else coming out. And when we start seeing a lot more events happen and classes start getting more developed, hopefully that's going to be the case. We will get a very much clearer idea of criteria, but hopefully this gives you a little bit more insight into direction of the division and where things are going and what you can expect. As always, if you want any help with what you're doing, I do offer a 7-day free coaching trial. You can just plug that link in the description here, and I can give you feedback. I can tell you, hey, here's what you should work on. Here's where you should be for Fit Model. Here's what you should try to do, at least within the best of my parameters. Because remember what I said, being straight up, everything is guesswork these days for everybody involved in this, and that's just the way it is. So if you want to check that out, it's a free opportunity, no money down, no nothing. You don't got to pay for anything. It's not one of those things where you put your card in, it charges the end of 7 days. You never do any of that. It's just another way that I get to give back to the viewers, the community, the people that watch the whole video for 17 minutes right now. Then you are the ones that get to go to the next level and get 100 times better experience than what I can do for you on YouTube. But either way, thank you for watching. Subscribe. Tell me your thoughts. What do you think about Fit Model? Where do you think we're going? Do you like direction? Do you want to see things change? Do you want to see things go faster? Let's hope that, this division starts to steamroll pretty quick here. All right. Thanks for watching. Coach Ryan is out.